So how did the first meeting go with Noel?
Well, what happened was, like I said, I met him in the lift, and then he asked me to come and see him play live, which I kept putting off because I thought, I like Noel, they're bound to be shit. You know what I mean? All your mates' bands are shit, aren't they? You know. And I thought, what am I going to say to him afterwards? But he kept badgering me, and in the end I went to see Oasis play for the first time at the Hop and Grape Bar at Manchester University, and they were supporting, it was either Liz Fair or Dodgy, one of those two.
Yeah, because they did support Dodgy.
They'd just been signed.
Yeah.
They'd just been signed. So
I think it could have been Dodgy.
it was 93, wasn't it? Yeah, it was 93. They'd just done the In the City conference in Manchester. And anyway, I went along to see him. There's literally, Marcus was there, the manager, with Johnny Marr, and me, and about 2 students, and that was your lot. And they were blistering, they were on fire, never heard nothing like it. In an empty room, you know, just playing for themselves effectively. Like a juggernaut coming through the wall. And I was like, fucking hell. So that was that then. I thought, right, off we go. So I didn't know the dynamic of the band at the time. I didn't realise that Noel just was the boss in terms of creative decisions. So I went along to a meeting. The first time I met them all as a band, I'd met Liam because he used to hang about the building within Spirals. But the first time I met them all as a band was in Sheffield, at Sheffield Hallam University, while they were supporting the BMX Bandits. And that's where I got the idea for the logo that came from, because that, you know, was the Decca logo off the front of the Rolling Stones album. I never normally refer to other sleeves when doing sleeves because you run the risk of becoming derivative, but I took along a book of classic album sleeves just to see what they were into or what they didn't like. And that's how that came. But it was very apparent right from the off that the guy I was dealing with was Noel.
Was he quite set in his way with what he wanted?
It was very open. He was very open. He didn't. Every sleeve was different. The process was kind of the same. I would have a creative meeting with Noel. I would then brief whichever photographer I was working with, because I worked with more than one photographer on the project. But the concepts and the ideas were basically mine based on what he said. Sometimes he said, Brian, I haven't got a clue for this one to you. Other times, some might say, for example, he was very specific. He wanted all the words from the song illustrated in one sleeve. But, you know, he was very easygoing, very easy to work with, nothing ever... But then, I said this, but I got it. I understood the project. I was a massive fan. That's bound to help, isn't it? You know, yeah. I was bang into Oasis. I loved that band. At that time, it was just the best thing in the world. I got where they were coming from. We were friends. I would always insist on getting a lyric sheet, for example, for whichever song we were working on. Sometimes it was relevant, other times it wasn't. This is a sheet for Wonderwall they used to write out for me. See that? As it goes, in this particular occasion, it's kind of wasn't that important, but that's how the process would start. I'd be hanging around with him anyway.
And this would be for like artistic.
Yeah, so I could just get my head round the song, you know. And I did that with every song. Most of the time I was in the studio when they were recording it. So, but what I'm saying is, as a result of this closeness, I never suggested anything that I knew they weren't going to like, that wasn't going to work. So nothing ever got rejected. We never had to reshoot anything. It was a fantastic working relationship.
That's fascinating. So at that stage you were working closely with Oasis and you worked with Richard Ashcroft for the Verve. Mm-hmm. I think you actually did some work for Super Furry Animals as well.
Yeah, that came about. Well, that came about. Super Furries thing, again, McGee, you've got to take your hat off to the guy. Yeah. The vision of the man. He had just signed the Super Furries. And
I always refer to him as, for me personally, the Brian Epstein of my generation.
Exactly. He's a visionary, isn't he? When other people would say, "You've done what?" Well, I'll give you an example.
Have you got any funny stories?
Well, not so much funny stories, but just the Super Furries. He got me in to do the videos, right? Which is remarkable because I'd never done one. But he knew. He could see from my visual style.
Tank, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, they're fantastic lads. Really, probably one of my favourite bands of the lot to work with. Still great friends. Not that I've fell out with anybody I've worked with, but he got me to do the videos even though I'd never done a video before because he could see like an animated style within my still work, if you see what I mean. So he gave me an opportunity there, which I grasped with both hands. But the one we did for Demons, we shot in Colombia, right? And this was 96. When Colombia was one of the most dangerous countries in the world, and obviously there's a massive drugs connection with it. And he gave us this budget, and I heard whilst when I got back, somebody pulled him up and said to me, "Alan, have I heard this right? You've given Brian Cannon £60,000 to take the super furry animals to Colombia. Are you sure this is a good idea?" And his response was, "Oh, it'll be right, man." And it was the best film we ever did, you know. But working with them was a breeze because they're a unique band. They're brilliant, obviously. You know, they all speak Welsh to each other. It's just a mad, you know, which obviously to them is no big deal because they speak Welsh. But if you're not used to that kind of thing, it's quite bizarre, you know. They're a really tight-knit bunch. Very creative. Unlike any other band I've ever worked with. Great friends to this day. I tell you what the incredible thing is. This was all 20-odd years ago, and it really does feel like it was just yesterday.
Yeah.
I can't put my finger on why this is, because obviously 20 years is a long time.
Yeah.
But, and I can't, people go on about, oh, you know, it's like the 60s, isn't it? If you remember the 90s, you weren't there. I have more difficulty, I tell you what, I have more difficulty remembering the noughties, and I'll tell you why, because nothing happened.
60s, it's like the 90s turned on its head, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just...
The noughties, nothing much happened. I have difficulty remembering the 90s. I can mark every year by what happened that year and this year, what was released and what gigs were going on.
Yeah.
The noughties, like bugger all happened, so it was just bland and that flew by. But the 90s, it was just yesterday. So, well, I think the massive popularities. There's always a nostalgia for you. You know, a generation gets to a certain age and then they all look back when they were 18, 19 and go, God, I wish I was 19 again. And it's that generation, isn't it, basically?
I was DJing.
You go to any one of these gigs, it's just full of middle-aged men with bad haircuts, isn't it, really?
I was DJing a few weeks ago and there was a lad, he must have been in his very early sort of 20s or probably late teens, came up to me and said, "Have you got any Oasis?" And I was like, well, yeah. Well, we've got them all vinyl there, you know, in a box.
Yeah.
I said, "What do you want?" And he's like, "Can you put Wonderwall on?" I was like,
Of all the ones you're going to ask for.
It's like the joke, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I'm an Oasis fan. Have you got Wonderwall? But no, I mean, there's so many new fans coming through, aren't there? Kids coming through, loving it.
I tell you what, Oasis, I think now, and this might be mad because they haven't done anything for 10 years.
No.
You know, or some might say they haven't done anything of any worth for 20 years.
Big, if not bigger.
I'd say they were bigger now. Just if you go online now, just the hysteria, it's bigger than ever.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, I'd never say never, but a reunion is looking highly unlikely.
Yeah, do you know what? I think sometimes it's best left as it was. I don't think it's.
Well, do you know what? That's not my. Whether it happens or it doesn't happen.
No.
That's not my.
People keep asking me.
But the thing is, I think it's just getting a bit nasty between them at the minute, and I just can't. But you know, forever's a long time, so I'd never say it's never going to happen.
But I think with them not reforming, I think that's what's opened the door for a lot of the bands to come back out because people want to see. If they can't see Oasis, well, they can see Cast, Space, Dodgy, the Mondays. You know, it's all
these sort of revival festivals do Shine On does brilliantly. The Star Shaped guys, they're doing well. It's happening all over, isn't it? So you know. But is that not as well because there's a lack of stuff that's happening today?
I think so.
Do you know? Again, I'm not going to start getting into that. Cause, I mean, I don't know. I'm no music expert. I was lucky to be at the right age at the right time. You know, I was what was I? Well, I was in my 20s when I did Sleeve for Definitely Maybe.
Yeah.
Wow, that's mad, isn't it? You know.